Greetings, everyone, my fellow vassals, my fellow overlords, and my fellow Xeno genociders. There is a little bit of everything here in today's dev diary. So we're talking about enclaves. I'm not going to get into the big details with bulwarks and all of that stuff. The specific stat breakdowns can be found in the dev diary, which I will link below. However, I do want to talk about some of these exciting enclaves because I am not, by any sense of the words, a min-maxer. I play unapologetically with Psionic, so just seeing a new Psionic Enclave, which is included in the Overlord expansion, has me jumping for joy. So let's talk about that and let's get to scheming. Before we even begin to talk about that, though, we have to talk a little bit about our friends, the Scrappers. Here's their little base. They are an independent enclave, and that does come to be important later. Just remember that they are independent. There are a few dependent enclaves later down the road, but I'll get to that. Anyhow, they are independent, and they are essentially rogue engineers that salvage and refurbish ships. So if you sell ships to them, they'll give you some credits, some minerals, and you'll kind of get a deal out of that instead of destroying it. Let's say if you just had the wrong configuration, you'll at least get some reimbursement there. So I'm glad that devs are kind of thinking about those little quality of life changes. One interesting thing here, and I think they are trying to give these specialist enclaves, and I say specialist because first of all, these enclaves here have specified portraits. There's not just some ambiguous species that can be randomly generated with the regular enclaves. They do have specific portraits here. So this is some preset alien. You can't choose a species or race, and the art seems to be a bit more detailed here. So it looks a bit off-putting if you compare it next to the other alien portraits, but I kind of like the stylistic decision they're taking here, and I definitely like the background art. It does give a bit more flavor and flair. Regardless, as you trade, just like with other enclaves, as you trade with the Scrappers, you will unlock more options with them, and there are several options here with the Scrappers. For example, you can just scrap the fleet and you can reclaim vessels or buy vessels from them, or you can go ahead and unlock salvage works buildings, which the devs have not kind of hinted more about, or you can ask them to aid with your construction efforts. They have not gotten into this either, but I assume they can kind of help you increase your building speed, maybe even assist with building megastructures, because those take a long ass time to build. I know the Dyson Sphere is just years and years of just building metal frames. Hopefully they make this a little bit easier. And now we have what I've been waiting for, the Bene Gesserit, the Shroud Walkers. The Shroud Walkers enclaves, they do remind me heavily of Doom. I mean, just look at them. Look at that. That shroud is just, it just is entirely reminiscent. Maybe I'm just being a bit easily accepting, per se, of some Dune archetypes, but I mean, it's been in the game before. Let's just get a little bit of Dune love. The movie wasn't actually that bad, and I do love some psionic buffoonery here and there. But anyway, let's get into them. So they are the first Psionic Enclave. They are officially known as the Shroud Walkers. They do have a kick-ass emblem here, flag, whatever kind of sigil they use to identify their order. And they offer buffs to Unity and can even read your fortune. So with the Unity rework, you can kind of get a few different advantages out of them, since Unity is a bit more relevant now with elections and whatnot, at least if you're playing an oligarchy or some kind of democracy. And even with edicts and whatnot, they will definitely come in handy, as Psionics are kind of slowly but surely creeping up and getting stronger and stronger with each update, which I definitely love. I do have to hand it to the Stellaris developers and the artists, because they make some kick-ass art. I mean, just look at that epic lightning. She would be proud. Anyhow, you can, and I think this is what's going on here, but I think you can make wormholes. I know you can make wormholes with the Shroud Beacons, but I think this is a Shroud Beacon in particular in the process of creating a wormhole, or maybe this is their enclave. Looks like a kick-ass evil lair. But anyway, with the Shroud Beacons, you can't create wormholes. You can only make one, but they are very, very impactful, since you can basically create a wormhole to any of your systems. So if you are perhaps having a capital and it's under siege, and the AI are really kicking your ass, perhaps you could make a wormhole to their capital. I don't know if there's restrictions on that, but that would be pretty kick-ass. I assume we probably have to own the territory, but there are a lot of possibilities in terms of building wormholes to other systems, extending your range, perhaps building wormholes into territories that normally wouldn't be within your reach, and basically having a second empire kind of on the opposite side of the galaxy. You can already do that with gateways, but there are a lot of possibilities there. Now, this one kind of inspired and evoked the secret little venture capitalist in me, and it reminded me a lot, honestly, of the Iraq wars with all their evil military contractors or the private contractors and renting out mercenaries and equipment and all that. You have that in all of its glory here with the mercenaries. And what's really interesting is that beside their different flair and whatnot, these guys actually have a set portrait, but beside all of their unique flair, these guys are dependent on you. So you create these guys, you set them out to do their little evil, war enterprising, and they actually pay dividends and stipends to you as their overlord and their patron. I don't know if that can transfer through war or whatnot. It'd probably be pretty fitting, but they are very, very dynamic. You'll be surprised. All right, so with these enclaves comes a cap for them. It starts off at 0, but with specific Ascension perks and Civics. For example, Lord of War, it increases your enclave cap by 1, buffs diplo weight from fleet power by 25%, which is pretty big if you are a fanatic militarist or any kind of militarist and you like to wage war. And then it also makes established mercenaries pay more frequent dividends. And here's the kicker. You can also go ahead and get the galactic community involved in this. You can even force them to have mercenaries, and it'll just create all this I just can't imagine the chaos it would create. But essentially with this, you can force the galactic community to go ahead and have all these mercenaries, pay for them, and just have a massive private contracting network selling out all of these different vehicles, these vessels, waging war 24/7. It's basically the Marauder mid-game crisis on steroids completely and utterly. So that is kind of crazy to think about. I also experiment with it. I honestly am not that involved with war, but I mean, a little profiteering on the side, come on. This is going to be a little bit fun here and there just to plague your enemies with a bunch of different mercenaries. So you gotta love some war profiteering here and there. That's gonna do it with today's dev diary, but that is not the end of the dev diary. I didn't want to get too much into hard stats and all that. There's a bunch of different descriptors at the end of the dev diary. That was basically covering half of it because these dev diaries are bulky. I don't want to waste your guys' time too much, as I already have. But I thought I covered the important things. If you want me to get into the hard stats and whatnot, I can, if you will watch it. But I noticed viewer retention really starts to go down, as it already probably has dropped to like 10% at this point of the video when I get into hard numbers. Not something I'm necessarily good with, but if you want me to get into it, by all means, I will. But that is it. I hope you enjoyed the dev diary. Let me know in the comments, if you are interested in responding, that is, what part of the enclaves, or what part of this dev diary makes you excited, first of all, and then what enclaves are you looking forward to? Do you think this is enough in terms of enclaves, or were you expecting more? What were you expecting in general? Did this exceed your expectations, etc., etc.? And that should be it. So I thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys. This has been 4 Extraordinaire. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys later. All right, peace.